Common language in
Common
the
language in the
morning.
morning. Wait, did we hit it?
Maybe. I don't know.
On my side, we hit it, which means we probably didn't hit it.
Yeah, we probably were just a little bit off. But hey, we at least got there in spirit. So
it was so much closer though. Like there wasn't. I felt that one.
good.
I think on the
good.
recording it's not going to, but in my head it worked.
It all peaked. It was all wonderful. It's what we needed to hear. It's a good morning to be watching the Common Language podcast. Welcome on in, everybody. It is another live episode of the Common Language podcast. If you are watching the VOD, just know that if you do want to become a channel member over here at Ashen Wings TCG, you do get to watch these live every Tuesday morning at around 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if that is something that you want to do and come in for some viewer questions or things like that, by all means, feel free to join the channel as a channel member. But no worries. You're probably just watching the VOD anyway. That's what we're doing. So
you also can put questions on the VOD too.
Very true. Yeah, just go ahead and let us know in the comments if you have questions about things that we talked about, and we can talk about them at future things. I want to eventually get to the point where we're doing like maybe we'll pop them on the Discord or something for like a viewer questions thing for future streams. So that way we have stuff, we can get another segment slided in here. So, but anyway, welcome on in, everybody. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day today. Nathan, how are you doing? How are things over in your neck of the woods?
They're cold.
Yeah.
Which I know stupid to complain about that, but here on the Gulf Coast, our winter time is 50s or whatever. We were in the 40s, 30s last night. It was so cold that I let my cat inside, my outdoor cat.
Right. He's just like, come inside. Don't even worry about all that.
Come on, dude. Although I think I've talked about this. So I took him to the vet a couple of weeks ago, and then after that, he had to be inside for a few days. So now he's just like, oh, I'm an indoor cat.
Right.
He just hangs out outside. Just like, no, dude.
The pampered baby, pampered little baby.
So he got to cozy up last night.
Good.
So he was all happy.
Good. Any fun things you've done in the world of Flesh and Blood? Do any more casual night stuff or any skirmishes?
Yeah, so last night I did stream.
Nice.
There's only 3 of us, so we did a UPF, but we did an Arya draft, 3-person draft UPF.
Okay.
Huh. So that was very entertaining. Because we figured out after like the first pack or two that we all had gone Lexi. So thankfully, because like at the end of the pack, I was like, there's literally only Guardian stuff. So I started picking up Guardian stuff. So I just went into Old Him. One of the other guys went into
That's so funny. My God. You just imagine just like, why are there still 3 Runeblade cards and 3 Guardian cards in this?
Well, there were so many Guardian cards. So another thing too that I forgot is the old packs are 15 cards, not 14. So like we were going through like, why are there odd amount of cards? And then after the first pack, we're like, oh wait,
that's right.
There should be. Also, we always, no matter without fail, no matter what we do. So when you do 4 or less people, what we've been doing is we've been doing pick 2, and then so like we've been doing that in there because I know Magic, a few months ago came out with a video of like, hey, for 4 and less draft, do pick 2.
Yeah.
And it's been working out great because we've done that several times. Because we get, on average, we've been having 4 people. We used to have like 6 to 8 people for casual night, but now we've been like a consistent 4.
Right.
People move away, all that. People lose interest in the game.
Yeah.
So we're really working towards making it a Sage night. So when there's 4 people, then we go like, hey, 4 or less. If there's 3 people, then we go, yeah, we'll just draft or apply a Sage deck, or I have my Guardian cube.
Yeah.
That it's draftable or it's crack shuffle playable. And so we'll pull that out and do the event deck. So one of the guys there joined the game at high seas. So he never got to play Arya and stuff, and so he was like, hey, I want to do Arya. I was like, okay. So we did that. I pulled a New Horizon. It was unlimited though, so
I mean, hey, that's still not bad. I mean, those are like unlimited Arya doesn't have as much of a print run, so it's at least a nice hit to get a legendary out of there still.
Yep. So I got that. I have the cold foil though. So a buddy of mine, he had the non-foil for the new set,
Hmm.
and I was like, "There's about a $20 difference." But I was like, "Hey, let's make that trade," and he gave me a couple cards that they weren't worth very much, but they were like the promo stuff. So like I got like a cold foil for the assassin weapon from the hunted
Oh,
because
nice. Okay.
I only had one, and I was like, I need two for my deck. Anyway, so but we do that all the time in our locals. Our locals are great because we'll just be like, hey, here's a great card. You're building this deck. Like, here you
Yeah.
go. Like,
I mean, that's really what it comes down to for trading. It's like I always take a look at, like, sometimes I'll come across those like vendor videos for like Pokemon and stuff, and all these people just like handing stuff out to kids
yeah,
and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, I think the mentality can go with just like trading cards. Like, you're building a ranger, I have something you would like. Sure, I don't care that I'm not getting 100% of the value of this
yes,
card. Like, I would like the things that you have in your binder. If you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. Like,
yeah,
good to
exactly
have
that.
it.
Um, so so yeah, so because I've been wanting kind of the new art in general
Yeah.
because I'm a ranger player and it's
Uh-huh.
like I like options. Also, I actually enjoy I do love like New Horizon and Cold Foil, absolutely gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
really gorgeous in Rainbow Foil as well. But I also like that non-foil is an option now.
Yeah.
They don't curl, things like that. So he had the non-foil New Horizon because I think the new Horizon can also come in Rainbow Foil.
Yeah, so
Maybe
it's
I'm wrong.
it's it's non-foil, or you can get it in extended art rainbow foil.
Okay,
So
that's what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, so he had it. He gave me the non-foil, and I was like, awesome. Like I'll take that. I might look at the extended art non-foil and getting that just because I New Horizon is one of my favorite cards, and
Uh-huh.
not necessarily because of its ability, but because it's just an absolutely gorgeous art.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I
And the
like
new
I
one
like
is
both arts.
still
I think they're
gorgeous.
really cool. I love the new art for New Horizon. Honestly, like, I don't know. I just like, I don't know how much I love the shadowed text box as the extended art, right? I think I've just
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
the micro text box have just like changed my whole view on, that's what I
Yeah.
want. Like, if that's like a
Yes.
premium
100%.
rainbow foil version, that's what I want, is a micro text box and not this shadowed text box. But
Oh,
even
100%.
still, I think the art looks super good. If it wasn't for me already having a New Horizons, I'd probably get one of those. But to be fair, I also have an unlimited rainbow foil New Horizons that I'm just like, cool. I'll either keep it or I'll trade it in for an extended art one that looks better, and that'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Well, I splurged a while ago and I did like a trade and I got like a new Horizon and things like that. So like um because I just like Lexi and
yeah.
Ranger and all of that, and I just think some of that is gorgeous. Funnily enough, is Briar. I am a better Briar player than I am a Lexi player. Maybe
Mhm.
that's everybody. I don't know, but but I still have this affinity for Ranger and for Lexi, and even though I'm not as good of a Ranger player as other people, I
Mhm.
still have. Also, my childhood dog's name was Lexi, so
There you
I have
go.
I have
That's a
that's
deep
the
tie. It's
name.
a deep tie to Lexi. So that's good. I mean, hey, everybody's got their favorites. Some people really like Azalea. Some people really like Olympia.
Mhm.
It's all up to that. So
It's all
whatever
fun.
you want to
What
do.
about yourself? So, we did stream that, so you can watch it and watch us absolutely
Yep.
mess up our draft and whatever. I'm gonna try to stream every Monday. So they gave me. I know I talked last week where I was like I couldn't get internet connection. They did
Uh-huh.
give me the store password, so
Good.
it was very kind of them. And so we streamed that. It was really funny because the only person watching it was one of the guy's wife there, and she's hilarious. And
Hey,
so they're going back and forth. She was
everybody's
typing.
got
He
to
was
have the one viewer. I think it's always good to see that regardless, you're getting some cool viewership, and you can find all that. Obviously, I have all the information for Bold Brew Games down there underneath Nathan's name there. So go check that out. I guess I did quite a bit since last.
So you made a
Well,
ton of
I made
videos.
a ton of videos. I have a ton of videos scheduled for this week. Went to an armory last night for Classic Constructed. I'm trying my villain arc, uh,
Your villain arc.
my villain arc meta slave CC run here, where I'm playing Gravy Bones. It feels really good. I went 2-1 last night, got $20 in store credit for winning or for getting fourth place or whatever. So not bad. Outside of that, though, again, yeah, it's just been a lot of content. I've been invited onto 2 other podcasts just this week alone. So by the time you're watching this, there will probably be 2 more podcasts out with my face talking about what I would imagine to be the same topic. So if you want to hear me 3 times over the course of these things, I'll have.
I always want to hear you, Alex.
Yeah, hey, listen, I love yapping, and whoever wants to listen to me yap, that's your problem. But yeah, outside of that, I think it's just pretty much been getting prepped for more Sage stuff. I've done some testing with a local who's going to Seattle, and it was really funny. Shout out to my boy Tanner. If any of you are part of the Mechanologist Purple Discord, you know who White Top is. Tanner is a local of ours, and he was in a state that was so funny. And I do truly think that he is an incredibly good player. He does have a really great love for Max Nitro. And so he came to me with some information saying that he had beaten, like, he'd gone 18 games in a row undefeated, like just slamming through people on Talishar. He's beaten 3 chains, 2 Bravo Flattering Showmen. Like, he's just hitting the gauntlet and every single time taking a W. And I'm like, that's my goat. Of course you're going to be good at Max Nitro. That's awesome. Like, that's what you do. And funny enough, I mean, Max Nitro plays a lot like Chain does in regards to just making hyperdrivers, using those hyperdrivers to make your cards effectively free, and sending like 8-8 or 8-6-4-4 plasma barrel shot for 5, right? Or for 4. So the odds are there to have that happen. And so he approaches me in on Discord, and he's just like, this is insane. Am I crazy, or is this deck actually good? And I'm like, well, I can face you. Like, I mean, I would say, like, winning against Chain is very, like, that's a dice roll sometimes, because sometimes they just get bad banishes. They have to take incorrect lines to get their cards that have Blood Debt into their banish zone. And so there are worlds in which Chain does poorly 3 times in a row. Like, I don't know about all that, but it very well could happen. But Briar does not give a shit about that. Briar's going to be sending like 20 damage at you 3-4 turns in a row without fail. And he had never gone against a Briar with the deck, so we proceeded to get some games on Talishar, and he was very humbled after our games, because I did not blow him up by all means. Effectively, it went me send small amount of damage, he'll send a small amount of damage, but I was able to block it out better because Rune Blades have some of the best defense reactions in the format right now. And then he had his big turn where he'd send like 16 damage. I would say no blocks, and then I'd kill him. And he was just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, it happens. But I do think that Max is a pretty fun deck to play. And so that was my testing with him as he was getting prepped for Seattle. He's like, the goal is to day 2 of the calling and not have to play Sage. But if he ends up playing Sage, he wants to at least play something that he's comfortable with. And I think that the fact that there was, and I can't even remember, in Valencia, I don't think there was a single mechanologist. Maybe dash, but not a single mech from what I see. So,
which is weird to me, because I feel like mechs have so much damage.
So good. It's so good. I don't know. Like, I think I could easily send dash, just like regular dash, into a Sage event and just absolutely destroy people. Like, it's really easy to do. And again, the deck like pilots itself. You know, sure, you have some sequencing, right? You want to make sure that you're not like, popping a card to try to get resources so that you can send payload by breaking the chain. You know what I mean? Like, you can't doing all that. But overall, I mean, the course of the game is pretty simple. It's boost, 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 Talishar, boost, 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 Talishar, boost, boost. Like, that's the thing. And so, but overall, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know Seattle is going to be this coming weekend, so that is something to look forward to. I don't know that it will be streamed. I do know that there is, from what I hear, there's also something that's happening in, I think it's in an APAC region. There's another calling that's happening this weekend also. And that has a PQ plus. That is Sage that some locals are planning on streaming. So
that'll be fun.
I'll have to get deets for that in the comments and figure that out. But
yeah,
that's going to be a cool thing. I know I'm certain Seattle's not going to get anything streamed, but if somebody locally at a different event is going to be doing something, I'd love to be there to at least watch that, because it'll be good to see live coverage of the format.
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's that's my stuff. I guess we can just hop into the topic of the day then today, being the most recent dev talk. So we're not going to talk about everything. Did you watch the whole dev talk, Nathan?
I did. So I watched the whole dev talk. I listened to it twice, actually. So I watched it at the end of my workday, and then I listened to just like the Sage stuff on my drive back. My drive's an hour, so I just listened to some of that in there. I guess I missed the part of Blitz being singleton.
Yeah. So okay. So literally, I'm just going to go down the line here. My one of our locals has done a very good job, because one of our other locals had asked for this as like a TLDR of the dev talk, and he made a pretty awesome like list that I'm just going to kind of read off from top to bottom, talking about the topics. Blitz is a singleton format now, and everything is unbanned, and no heroes are hit by living legend. So everything
I heard all of that stuff, but somewhere in there I missed that Blitz is singleton.
And that's the thing, right? I think it was the funniest thing, because I did not expect, that is not something that I was like, yeah, this is on my bingo card, right? They're gonna like just like flip Blitz on its back and just be like, okay, cool, like you're gonna play something completely different. It's awesome. It's awesome. I think it's really cool that they're just like, you know what, players, figure out Blitz now. You all do that. It's going to be a fun little thing. And then they also announced that once a year, there will be a competitive event for Blitz. Once a year.
I did hear that. So it sounds like they're going to do kind of like what they did at the 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
They do like, basically they'll do like an anniversary, which I think it's great, because this past year, like they did a stream or whatever, and it's like, that was fine, but like that 5-year anniversary was awesome. Obviously, there was invitational and whatever, but just turn it into a big event that everybody just goes to New Zealand or whatever, and and it's a whole anniversary event, and because they said the same thing for LL, they'll do it there too. So I think that's fun for them to do like an event like that. It doesn't need to be invitational, doesn't need to be like their whole big 5-year anniversary thing that they did, but just to do an event.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just having a big thing, kind of like a world premiere, right? But for an actual thing, right? For people to come out, whether it be in New Zealand or it be somewhere else that's more locally available for a lot of people.
I would love for them to just do New Zealand. Like, hey, this is our birthday. It's our birthday.
Come to our house. Like, come to our house. It's our birthday. If you want to come over, just hang out, right? It'll be a good time.
Yeah, like I think that would be awesome, and it gives people an excuse to go to New Zealand. I know it's like out of the way and whatever for most of the world, but I just think they should just be like, hey, this is where it is.
Yeah,
we're here. We don't need to do like a world champ. Like the world championship makes sense where it's like rotating, and you want it to be, for easy to access. I think just being like they did for the 5-year anniversary of, here we are, come see our beautiful country.
Right.
New Zealand is absolutely on my list of some place to go see. I think it is on most people's list who grew up in our generation watching Lord of the Rings.
I would love to go. I'd love to go so much. Oh my God. I would love to go so much.
That like, I think that would be, I think that's a great idea. So them doing that. Anyways, moving on.
I mean, so effectively that's the thing, so it'll be one competitive event over the course of a year or so. You'll have your one time to shine in Blitz, and outside of that though,
and that's
just
not
for
to say that they won't do side events.
Correct. Yes,
they
will
say,
still
like,
be.
Hey, we might do some side events and things like that. Like, quite frankly, there was there was a decent amount of side events in the World Championship, but I almost
Hmm.
felt like there should have been not necessarily more, but should have been. I feel like there was a lot of the same.
Well, I mean, I also think that like there wasn't a whole lot of drafting available
There was no
for
drafting.
right, no
There was
drafting at
zero
all. There was
drafting, which
sealed
is insane.
only. But also like that's the thing too is a lot of these events, if they were quicker, like if events were able, like the fact that commoner events lasted like 4 hours
Yeah,
was not correct. Like they're
agreed.
like that is something completely different. That
You
should have
had
been
like
a
4 rounds, right?
yeah, four rounds, and those
That should
four
be
rounds
2 hours.
lasted an hour each. It
That
is a
should be two
it is
hours.
a 35-minute round timer for each of those, but because of gem issues and people not realizing and judges being a little bit more lenient on time, we had people push that boundary, and so it took a lot longer. So that was something that I definitely think hopefully if people can get the snappiness of it all down,
Yeah,
we can
pain of it.
get actually more events to happen. But of course, with obviously with Sage and a bunch of other stuff, we're gonna see uh, more open things to occur. Hopefully, we'll see more things, and especially as they start implementing more draft things, we'll go about
Mhm.
that there too. But the next topic I want to talk about is Living Legend. Same deal, kind of with Blitz.
Yep.
Outside of the singleton thing, um, they think the format did very well. James White and Brian Gottlieb. For those who don't know what we're talking about, there's a dev talk.
Yeah.
Brian
It's
Gottlieb and James White.
Jimmy Blanco and Donnie Darko.
Exactly. Jimmy Blanco and Donnie Darko going at it. They're playing or they're just hanging out in the dev room talking about what the formats are looking like, and they're talking about Living Legend. Living Legend, they said, did very well at Worlds.
I think it
While
did. I think
yeah,
I wish that they had like maybe like one more event or something leading up to it that was actually
anything
streamed
that
where
would have been more
people
testing, like
um
anything that would have been more testing
because the
available, right?
format so I am even though we were at Worlds, I
You're
am
right.
still working my way through the VODs because unbeknownst to most people who weren't there, they did not stream anything. So like
Yep.
as much as Worlds was fun, one of the main complaints was it didn't feel like Worlds. It just felt like a big
Yep.
calling or
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Because one of the things that they could have easily done is, hey, here is a projector on the outside, because there was a huge hallway before you get in there. If you don't
Yeah.
want it by the players, there was a whole other side of there that like you could easily just throw up a projector there and just like stream it. Because the other thing too is they were like 2 rounds behind or so like from
Right.
streaming because they film it all and then they pick what games they're gonna do and then they do it. So they were a
Right.
couple rounds behind that they could have easily streamed it. So I have been going back and rewatching the VODs
Mm-hmm.
because I was like I was there, but like it wasn't very World Championship for
Right.
me. It was just high vibes. Like let's be real, it was a blast. But it was mostly like vibes
Yeah.
and not World Championship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I think that was like, well, what we did was a little different. Like, I think it was so funny because what we did was anytime we would go out there, we'd go to the venue. I didn't pay attention, jack all that was happening at
yeah,
the World Championship. And of course, if
fantastic.
there was a viewing place, I certainly would be going there to go at least hang out because that would be fun. But people were just watching it on their phones, posted up at different parts of the thing, just watching it. But it
And
wasn't
there was
like
no
a
like
viewing
viewing
experience,
like in times before like they had a viewing where you could watch the feature match.
right?
There wasn't anything like that. If you went over to the feature match, you were really because they were off in the corner.
Yep.
And like if you
I mean, they
went over there
blocked
to watch
off.
it, you were disrupting it.
Yeah, they blocked off the entire World Championship like area for the first
Yeah.
like 2 days because that was where it was happening, was in that specific area. But it's fine that that's the case, I guess, because what we did is whenever we got back to the Airbnb, we would just literally watch the VOD of the
Mhm.
live stream. So we got to watch it a little bit, but as far as like what to see, I also have not caught up with a lot of it. I've seen the key moments being like Marlin doing Marlin things in LL, the Dio game that was insane to watch, going from like 2 to then killing your opponent, was just insane. So I do think that obviously those kind of things that happened like literally days before the event,
Yeah.
people were like, Dio, Stubby Hammers Dio and Marlin are going to be the things. After nobody talked about those decks for ever, months and months before, you would never hear the word Stubby Hammers Dio. But all of a sudden, 2 days before the event, now everybody's like, oh, did you hear about that new build? And it's, I mean, I think that's really does showcase that like the format has a lot to still be explored. But
I think that helped to turn people around towards it. It's just funny because like, hey, now the community is starting to get behind LL and they go, oh, we're done with the format.
Well, because I get it. I think at the end of the day, right, when it comes to metas, I mean, it truly is like, I do think that you have to, one, be so secretive about what you're bringing.
Yeah.
And you don't have that, like, if a day before the event, you don't really have a lot of time to test into Stubby Hammers Dio. Like, that person is testing with their team, and their team is understanding of what they have to go into, right? And in the scenario, I think it's just like, it's a catch them off guard kind of deal, and less of a this is a super insane meta call that was like automatically going to win everything. And that changes when people know about it, right? I don't know that Stubby Hammers Dio would have done as well if there's another LL calling in the future, because somebody would have been out there to go like, yeah, okay, how do I tech into that? Just kill them faster? Okay, sure, fine, whatever. But overall, I mean, they're still looking to keep an eye on the format. I was talking with a local of mine yesterday about it because she's a really big proprietor for LL. She was a lot back when it was in the ProQuest season, stuff like that. And I think that this is something that obviously they're going to revisit in the future. I just think that right now they don't have the resources to really push towards it, especially with Stage being on the horizon. And of course, they just want to make sure they have the means to balance it, and then can offer it maybe at a calling at some point in the future, or a battle, or a showdown, right? Because 2026, all the showdowns are going to be Silver Age, but 2027 could be different, and there could be a bunch of different stuff coming up. So there are opportunities for that. You know, they're going to revisit it in the future, but you know, currently at this moment, it's not something that they want to have players putting their focus on, because they're really not going to touch anything in the format. They're not going to do any bans until that one competitive event. Same with Blitz. There's going to be one competitive event for LL over the course of a year. And what they're going to do is they're going to revisit the ban list right before that, just so that they could kind of get an idea about what needs to change.
Makes sense too, because it's essentially they're going to do for the non-competitive event, like for those events that they're not focusing on those formats, they're essentially doing we're going to look at it one time for the year. Here's our bans for the year.
Yep.
And I think that that's totally fair, because you know, we look at something like Commoner, where they would occasionally look at it, and sometimes we had to wait like a couple of years. And so this way, they're basically more or less committing to, we're going to look at it once a year. Look at the ban list for these formats that you like to play once a year. And I think that that's great. Anyways, continue.
No, I mean, that's effectively that. Like that was LL. Not a whole lot changing there outside of it's not going to be Tier 4 anymore. You're not going to see it at callings, but they're same with Blitz, right? There will be side events for it. There will be things there at these bigger events. So don't give up on Living Legend. It will be something that is prevalent, I would imagine, in like 5 to 10 years. But currently they're putting their focus out on our next topic, Sage. So first and foremost, as I had expected, as I hope everybody in that format expected, Commoner was brought out back and shot. Commoner is dead. And I'm not talking like, oh, there will be side events like LL and Blitz. That format is gone, which is, I mean, I think it's a good idea. Not because I hate Commoner. Obviously, as you know, I am fine.
You love Commoner.
I'm fine with Commoner. But I think at the end of the day, Sage does what Commoner did, but better. And that is an entry point for players at a budget level that is an internal format that has multiple different heroes you can choose from, right? That is what Commoner was. That is what Sage is now. And there's no reason to divert resources to figure out a Commoner meta when you're looking at Sage as a meta. So
Well, I think too. So they give the history of Blitz and why they did Blitz, and I did know most of that. Interestingly enough, or just assumed most of that. Commoner, for instance, Commoner was not something that LSS actually created. Commoner was pioneered by the community, and they played it all. You know, it was people were doing Commoner events through Discord while we were. While we were all COVID was here and you know we couldn't really go out and stuff like that, and so Commoner was something that essentially they more or less gave into the community. They're like, fine, you guys are doing this on there, and it took them a couple years to do it. And so to me, it makes sense for Sage to come in because Sage is now, it's not necessarily their replacement. It was just, I mean, it is, but it's them going like, hey, how do we do this better? And I think if you look at LSS, I think they saw number one, hey, Commoner, it's pretty popular. Also, you know, Mansant's Clash, which we obviously are super familiar with. Clash is fairly well, surprisingly enough, Clash was always more popular in areas that just couldn't get cards, right? Like that. At the end of the day, that's where it was the most popular. It really wasn't popular in the US, but we had a lot of communities in South America and Asia, just places where it was really hard to get hold of cards, but you could get someone like we could get people to send us bulk. Like that was where it was popular. And so this is now that they've curated it and made it so that they don't have flimsy rules. I think one of the things that I think I've been very vocal about is, as much as I love specializations, I love the fact that they didn't do specializations in Pen or in Silver Age, just because number one, that would skyrocket the prices, and number two, it does make it a little bit fiddly in there. And so if they have a focus on it, then they can actually do like rare specializations if they really see that, or they can go, you know, just make a card that works very well in there. Since it's a focus of theirs, we're going to get cards for it that really Clash was that way just because they're not focusing on it, and we want you to have fun tools. Like that's ultimately what it is, why it was that way and why it was a little bit fiddly. And so I just kind of to Silver Age portion of it is that it makes sense because here they are where they have a curated format, whereas Commoner was a community thing that got pioneered, and they're kind of just saying, okay, Commoner and Clash were community things. We're going to more or less form them into one. Here's our version of it. That is a very clean way to do it. Because, you know, one of the things that we talk about in Commoner, that hasn't really been addressed is the fact of when Commoner came out, they had fiddly rules. You could only have 2 rares, and they literally did that for Kasai. And then they said, okay, that's too fiddly. You can have all rare equipment in general. And so in Silver Age, that cleans all of that fiddliness up. And so this is them being like, hey, Clash was too fiddly with all the rules, so we can't do that. Commoner, we had to be fiddly in there, so we're just going to combine the two: basic, rare, common, or basic, common, rare, whatever order, it doesn't matter. Clean slate, very clean cut. And so to me, it makes sense just because they're essentially putting together 2 community formats into one. And even though Commoner was officially supported, at the end of the day, it really was community driven.
For sure. I mean, you were not like, I don't think there was anything Commoner players were doing to make it so it was so prevalent to the format to where they're like, all right, LSS, like, change this, right? Like, the fact that they weren't even putting Commoner in skirmishes showed like a lot about how they felt about the format, because there's no reason to play it. Only because, well, at least like now with Sage, right? Like, it's a format that has not been looked over as like something they need to really fine tune for a competitive scene. It is a kitchen table format in all sense of the word. And that is something that is very prevalent whenever you even play the format, because if you play it competitively, you play 3 heroes. That's it. If you play at kitchen table, you play any of the 58
Whatever.
heroes, right, that you want to play, and it's totally fine. But for the most part, you are like, it was not ever meant for a hyper competitive scene. And I like that they've decided to change their method of, instead of worrying about both commoner and sage, that commoner just goes away. They can forget about the rules. If you still want to play commoner kitchen table, you still can. If you can take all those cards from commoner besides like the banned cards and build the sage deck out of it if you want to do the same thing, right? Like
and I think most of the community was going to move on, especially once they come out with those decks for you to get.
It's
I don't
just
see a
worth
reason to play commoner when you can go pick up a $20 deck, a competitive $20. What they're telling us is competitive. A competitive $20 deck. Why would I buy that and then go, I'm going to turn this into a commoner deck?
Exactly, right. You're not going to want to downshift it to something and be like, okay, cool, like let's take the rares out and put some other commons in there. Like, I think at the end of the day, again, what commoner was meant to do was provide a cheap entry point into Flesh and Blood. And Sage does exactly that, and it allows for a wider card pool. So deck building is a lot more unique. And that's what they want to see in a format, let alone the fact that they don't want to worry about a commoner ban list and a sage ban list and where to put each format where. Because let's be honest, even if commoner was not killed effectively, you still would have only saw it at a Pro Tour for a gold foil event. And that's like it. Like that's it.
And that's if.
Yeah, and that's if. And now you're just going to get that with Sage. Like Sage is just now the gold foil event. Like you're not playing that. So now not only are you playing, you have the option to play a Battle Hardened, which gets you gold foils, but now you also have the opportunity to do a side event that allows you to get those same gold foils. Not the same gold foils, but like a gold foil in response to that. And so instead of you having to divert your attention to two different formats and be like, well, I got to prep for commoner and I have to prep for sage, I can go, well, do I have the mental fortitude to last through an entire showdown? No. Maybe I'll just try and go through this. But like, really, it's just nice that they did not, I feel like it was very, very much so a quick, like, bam. Like, it wasn't like, let's talk about how much we like commoner and all this other stuff and how we felt about the format. They were just like, commoner dead, forget about it. Like, let's move on to the other thing. So that is
once again, know, they did it out of necessity, out of like, hey, their community is playing it anyways.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And like at the end of the day, the amount of commoner players I've talked to that have been like, I'm far more excited about Sage than I am to build another Oldhim deck for commoner. I'm like, yeah, of course, right? Like that's what it's about. Like the amount of commoner players. I have a love for commoner because it is something that is. It got me into that budget side of things. It allowed me to play Flesh and Blood at a price that felt good to me at the time, and it did what it needed to do, which was allow me to explore into more heroes for a cheap price. Sage is going to do the same thing, so I'm not really worried.
And it's going to do it better.
Yeah, it's going to do it better. Exactly.
And it's not necessarily that it's going to do it better because it's a better format. Like I do personally think it's a better format. Although I did really like with commoner, people were when they would experiment, they experimented with a lot of cards that we wouldn't play in any other format, even in Clash or Silver Age. So there was like that kind of deck building puzzle that was really cool. But I like the style of play better in Clash/Sage because I got to feel the heroes. Like I got to feel more of what they're doing. But the reason why I say they're going to do it better is merely because they are designing cards for it now.
Correct.
They weren't designing cards for commoner.
Correct.
They're designing cards for Sage. And kind of I want to make this point real quick because it's kind of in Living Legend. So one of the reasons why I love to play Living Legend is because I get to play my old heroes that I love to play. Lexi, Prior, all those heroes that I love to play, Icelander. And the reality of it is them shifting into Silver Age allows me to play those heroes. And so I do think like Silver Age overall is kind of a replacement for commoner. It's a straight up replacement for commoner. But I also think it's kind of a replacement for Living Legend because it allows you to play those heroes that you didn't get to that you don't get to play anymore in CC, you still get that I can still play Icelander. Sure, I can't do it with Waning Moon and all that, but I still get the fun Icelander play that I don't get right now at all.
Right.
And so that's kind of looking at it all, I'm like, that's the reason why they're pulling away from Live Legend. They did make a point of, hey, we need to make sure that we don't do too many formats to funnel players through all those formats. So that was one thing that they said why they're shutting down Commoner. But that's also like why they're pulling away from Blitz, why they're pulling away from Living Legends, because they are identifying that, hey, we have too many formats. We have Blitz, we have Living Legends, we have CC right now. I really think 3 is too many. And so
I think 3 is fine personally,
I
but
think
continue your point.
3 is too many and they pulled away from Blitz in general. But 3 is too many for as echelon events. So like if we look at the World Championship, the first one, it was Blitz, CC, and it was Draft, and that was a little too much.
Yeah,
I
didn't see anything in regards to that. I did hear though that was the case. It was Blitz, Draft, and CC, and I could see that being a little bit too much for a player to prep for.
It was a lot for players to prep for. So this year, them leaving behind and doing 2 formats, I think worked out really, really well. I love limited. I am a person who does not say this very lightly because I draft every week or as much as I can. I am a limited player. That is how I engage with this game the most outside of Sage, and I probably engage with it in person. I engage with draft more than I do Sage. Sage is more of like a Talishar thing. I think from what I've been watching, I'm finally to the semifinals. I'm going to get to the finals pretty quick. For what I've been watching, the event overall felt a lot smoother for World Championship without draft.
Yeah.
I think for World Champion, I kind of want them to keep that. I do think, and one of the things that they talked about in the dev talk is that, hey, they probably should have had 1 or 2 more limited events for Smash Palace, because Smash Palace was actually I've drafted it a few times. It's a pretty good product. It's not my favorite. I'm not a Brute or a Guardian player, and so for me to say it's a good product,
are you talking about Super Slam, right? Not Smash Palace,
Super
right?
Slam, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Smash Palace is a fantastic product. Super Slam. Super Slam is a great product. Smash Palace is also a great product. I've made more use of Smash Palace event deck than I have any other product that they've ever written.
It's good to just put it in anything. Put it in anything. You're getting a pretty fun deck.
We've had so much fun doing that. One of the players there, he was like, we just need to play this more often. I'm going to take a quick segue in our game last night. I had an old him where I had to block everything because they kept attacking me. So I had to block everything. So I had no cards going in my turn, and I flipped up a card, and it said you can put a non-attack on top of your deck. If you have no cards in hand, put it in your hand. And I had the ice card, that discard or pay 1. So I immediately put that to my hand. Yeah, I had Winter's Bite in my discard. I immediately put it to my hand. Did it on Briar, who's going to kill us both next turn. Completely screwed up his turn. And then I had the Coat of Frost and then gave that to the Lexi.
Oh my god, you're just like, both of you stop your turn.
0 cards, and I completely shut down both of the turns. Coming back around.
Insane.
So the event deck, great for stories like that of nonsense. I ended up losing. I was the first player out. Then Lexi ended up, because she has Shiver, ended up shutting down Briar and pulling it out. The Briar, however, he should have won because he had the Lightning Greaves where you could ping him. And he didn't do it because he was like, I want to do it on the kill shot. But then the next turn, he picked up the D-React that pings him for 1. I forget what it's called. Anyway.
Sigil of Suffering.
Yeah, Sigil of Suffering. He had a yell, and he's like, God damn it, I would have won. Anyways,
crazy work.
It was fun. It was that's what the event deck does. Is it makes stories and makes multiplayer fun. So, anyways, Smash, not Smash Palace. We just said not Smash.
Super Slam.
Super Slam. It's all smashing. Super Slam. Super Slam was a good product, and them saying, "Hey, we probably should have had 1 or 2 events." It wasn't a good product for Worlds, but it was a good product to have maybe at a calling or something like that. I agree with that. I think it was a good enough product for us to have maybe a couple more events in there. But for Worlds itself, I actually liked that they didn't have that, and so all of this started into we're funneling players into too many formats, all of that. So I think having Sage and CC as your, hey, these are our top formats, doing some limited events around when the release happens. So like you can have the release of the of it, and then maybe do like a couple more events. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe what they're going to lean into in there. Um, their draft environments have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
They have since heavy hitters.
Yeah,
Sure, there's been
these
some that
past
haven't
two
been good since
years,
other ones.
these past 2 years have been incredible for draft.
They've
Like
been great.
incredible. Heavy hitters
Like,
draft was really good, and
we played so
Misfield
many
draft
heavy.
was really good. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these were great, and I think that the fact that they're putting a lot of focus on it still too is good, right? I think they talked about this when they brought up limited. So like we'll tie back to Sage in a sec here, but like limited, they talked about it because a lot of people do care about limited in their TCGs.
Yep.
That's just something that they enjoy a lot. And their goal is not to eliminate limited from the game. They're simply taking a break because they understand that they can put a lot of focus into limited, but what that does to their other formats is it keeps them stale, right? You don't see the same. You're going to be seeing the same things over and over. If you printed stuff for classes that are doing really well in these formats in a new draftable set, and you're like, cool, we made it draftable, but like some of the cards just do not make it into most decks because they're specifically draft. Like take a look at all the expedition cards, right, that care about Treasure Island.
Exactly that. There's same with Super Slam, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those, like if they're a guardian or a brute for both classes.
Exactly. You don't really have the opportunity to truly flesh out a format with that, and so that's why with things like Pen is going to be like a really, really big deal for not only Silver Age, but of course CC as well, because it is going to allow every class to get an influx of new stuff instead of it being 3 classes that get new things and half of that product actually being things that you can actually put into your deck, as opposed to the draft chaff you would normally get strictly to put that force on. But they are going to be working on future limited product after Pen. It's going to be like a bunch of
four.
Yeah, they have four draft sets. James White said something along the lines of like every like 3 years they kind of want to just like get an expansion set, like a supplemental set out to shake up things and provide new breath into these formats. So obviously I'm sure there's going to be opportunities in which they'll maybe get supplementary sets in between that. Obviously you can consider things like the mastery pack stuff to be supplemental sets. So those are also hitting shelves. We have 2 more mastery pack things coming in next year, towards the end of the year. So we're going to get more mastery pack stuff too, depending on the classes. Those will be nice ways to add supplemental stuff into those classes specifically, but not for everything. And so that's why I think personally, I've always been a big fan of supplemental sets. I think that Pen is going to do a lot for not only Sage, but also Classic Constructed, because there's just going to be new ways for you to set stuff up. It's just going to be...
I think my main worry with Pen is I have been a fan of expansion sets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this case, I'm okay with it because I was very happy that they were leaving them behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like after, like, Crew was really fun to open, Everfest was so-so, and Dusk Till Dawn was just not fun to open. And Dynasty was okay. Dynasty brought in some stuff. Dynasty, the reason why Dynasty was okay is because they brought an Assassin in Dynasty. Like, that was our first foray into that, and so, like, you always got Assassin cards in there, and so you could build out your Assassin collection and all that. But the reason why I think Pen will work is because it's bringing in cards for a fun format, for a new format, and they said the only reason why there's Silver Age events going on right now is because we as players are clamoring for them.
Yep,
they never tested Silver Age with our current cards.
And
They
that was going to
always touch it with
be
pen.
the next point here, was that the fact that what we're looking at as far as like bringing it to back to Silver Age regarding pen, that they didn't do anything for this. Like, we are currently in the wild west of, they don't care what's happening right now
Yeah.
competitively, right? It's early access. People want to play the format. People want to see a general idea about what's terrifying now and what they can prepare for and change when pen happens. But pen is the season that they had been testing for. It is the reason they're choosing. It's the reason why they're like, well, you know, you can say chain's really good, but you know, like pen season, like you could be saying something completely different. And so that really gives me hope for the set, because it's going to be something that is going to shift the way we look at these heroes. And I do think that, you know, again, currently we're just playing a format because we really wanted it. Like, the community really wanted it. The players really wanted it. Stores were reaching out for it to be accessible as a format they could play during their armory nights. And lo and behold, they're like, you know what? Let's just push it through, right? Because initially they were like, yo, we'll wait, right? We'll wait until it's finalized and we'll be good to go. And now they're just like, nope, we'll give them all the news now. They can just play with it right now. And then once new things happen, they'll be able to push it through. So I'm very excited to see that happening. And of course, it just being another push towards this budget format, right? Like,
Yes.
you don't have to.
That's it. Is this, most of it is, this game is a very well designed game.
Yeah.
It is. And so one of the things too, I feel like a lot of people that I know that play this game didn't necessarily come from Magic. They came from board games. Like, a lot of us are board gamers.
Right.
And that just so happen to play Fab. We're not TCG players. And so I come from a background of board games. I like it because it feels like it's like a constructed deck builder.
Right.
For anybody who's not familiar, deck builders like Ascension, I have a million over Dominion. I have like
Slay the Spire. Was that a deck
Slay the
building
Spire?
one?
Yeah, technically, that's a deck builder. Like, it's based off of deck builders. Like, it's that idea of, I use my cards, I discard them, and I redraw at the end of my turn. Like, that is that style. And you're buying cards in the middle. Most deck builders are buying cards in the middle. And Slay the Spire, you're getting the cards at the end of the level. Like, that's all. Like, so I didn't even think about Slay the Spire. So people who played Slay the Spire, you know what we're talking about. That's what got me into this game, is that aspect of, I like constructed. And so what Sage does, especially these decks right here, I'm very excited for the fact that they have these decks.
Yeah.
That they're coming out with chapters 1 and 2 from the get-go. Because what that does is that allows people who wouldn't necessarily interact with it, but they like board games or things like that, to interact with it on a high level that they want to. They get a good competitive deck that can do well, and they might not ever show up to an armory.
Right.
But hey, I'm gonna buy these two chapter packs. I'm gonna have them on my shelf so that when game night comes around, we can pull these out and jam some games.
Yep.
And that is a big deal for not just for us as TCG players, but that's a big deal for like the community at large, like the board gaming community, the gaming community at large, because that is one of the reasons why I started building like a Clash battle box and stuff, was because the blitz decks were terrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't teach people on it. Like, I tried to, and I was like, these are just awful. And so I started building out my battle box, my Clash battle box, to be able to just pull out and have fun and jam with like my brothers who aren't necessarily Fab players, but they enjoy good games. They enjoy good board games and card games and all of that. And so, like, I would bring them with me when I would travel to see family. We'd pull them out a couple times. This changes all of that, and that I have these. They're going in my battle box. I haven't even built out a lot of my battle box, because as soon as these come out,
I think it's just better. It's just better to have the 10 decks in a battle box and then just be like, cool, okay, like, here you go. And I think it's it's going to be good, because they said that these decks are due to be competitive, right? We've heard that since the initial announcement of these chapter decks. But you know, I think that as time goes on, right, we're going to see things change. Some cards may be competitive again in like dev testing, but in actual testing, certain cards may be moved out and swapped. But even still, even if it's just like these are the bare bones things that you can purchase, like I'd almost rather have, and I'm happy that they're covering every class besides like Necromancer, because it's 10 decks. I can take those 10 decks, sleeve them, put them in a battle box, and then I can just like all my other cards, I can do something else with, right? I can just keep the product that they would buy if they were interested in a box, and I can provide that to them. And like worst case scenario, I can be like, yeah, do you want this? Like it's right up there on the shelf. Do they not have it on the shelf anymore? Here, you can have the deck. It's all yours. Like you can play around with that. So
yeah, and so I think that'll be great. I know I'm gonna get one of every one. I'm sure you are. I'm gonna see if I can get a display.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna see if I can get a display of 1 and 2. I just don't want to take away from the community, so I'm gonna talk to my LGS of like, hey, can I get a display of 1 and 2?
Yeah,
because the display comes with 2 of each. I would like that, but if they're not getting a lot of them, then it's gonna be, hey, can I get 1 of each? And I just don't, I don't want to take away from the community and what they can order and everything. Because if I grab a display and all of a sudden they only have 1 more display, like that's not.
It's gonna be a different thing there. But I think that overall, as long as stores are able to carry them, super good. And that's what we want to see.
And chapter 3 comes just shortly thereafter with set 19. I am curious to see if chapter 3 is just the set 19 ones or if they're gonna pull that in. That's it though for this year. They're only doing 3 chapters this year, which I thought was a little bit. I'm a little bit sad about that because I feel like.
I mean, I think that's a lot of decks.
There should be 1 a quarter.
That's a lot of decks. Like 15 decks for them to pre-make. Like, yeah, it took them like back when KO was the only armory deck available. It was like, okay, when are we going to get another one? And then people had to wait like 4 months for the next armory deck to come out, and then it was like, okay, now we have 2 armory decks we can choose from. Now they're just like, bam, 10 decks, like in there, any hero you want. And let's be honest, right? If none of those heroes jive with you, there's 50 plus other heroes for you to check out. So there's going to be options.
And I'll be building like some heroes, right? Like Lexi's not in there. I love Lexi, so I'll be building that. I do hope, I'm just going to put this out here, maybe the card game gods will appreciate, will make this happen, is the pen decks come with a pack in them. Right. So chapters 1 and 3 come with a pen pack in them. That adds in so much extra to the box. I wonder if the box is actually going to be where I can sleeve my cards and put them back in. I want that so bad. And I'm like, wait, there's a pack in there. Maybe I can like even just not double sleeve and make it. Maybe they'll give me enough space.
That would be. I think you are coping, good sir. I do not think that you're going to be able to sleeve. I don't think you're going to be able to sleeve 55 cards and put them back inside that box.
The commander decks give me a big ass box. I have them up there.
That would be cool. If they are able to do that, I think that would be pretty sick. Obviously, we'll have to do some diagnostics testing.
I was gonna say I have obviously I have 55 decks,
right?
So like I'll just pull them out, put them in.
Just pop them in there and be like, cool, all right, this does fit.
I saw that and I was like, ooh, can they give it to me where I can actually sleep them?
Because that would be pretty cool. If you could have the deck box of like the axe, that would be sick. That would be great marketing, great product potential, super good stuff.
I was like, but that would make the displays really big, so I doubt it, but it would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. Something else that I did want to cover on Sage as well, before kind of moving on here. I know there is a whole section on CC. I know like I play CC a decent amount. I know you don't really play a whole lot of CC. But CC is just like, they're fine. They'll probably do some unbans of some stuff. You've heard here first. I think they're going to unban Bonds of Agony again. And I think that would be pretty sick, as an assassin player.
A couple of things that people have called out overall though is 10-foot tall and banning that, because we haven't seen those heroes do anything because they got
10-foot tall.
Yeah,
10-foot tall's not banned.
Which one is banned?
Talk a big game.
Talk a big game.
Yeah,
that one.
I was like,
It's the
Tenfoot's not
unbanned
bad.
It's the unbanned talk a big game because we haven't seen those heroes do anything, and they're like, "Oh, this breaks or whatever."
That would be pretty funny to see. I would like to see if that ends up being the case. I mean, like they said they wanted to make a new villain. They want to use the BNR instead of it being a balancing tool to be more of a just like, hey, maybe you don't want to see the same 3 heroes in the top 8 anymore.
Yeah.
Let's add maybe 2 or 3 more heroes into that shift by giving them a good card back, or maybe removing some cards from another hero that polarizes that.
And another thing someone called out. I was listening to the Flesh and Pod last week's episode. This week's episode just came out today. I haven't listened to it, but I listened to it on my drives on Monday. They were like, "Oh, Awakening," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Awakening for Jarl actually wouldn't be terrible."
I don't think they need to bring back Awakening. I think that would be crazy.
I think it would be fine.
I think that would
I think
be
it would be fine. I don't think they will.
crazy.
I could see them bring back Talk a Big Game.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that just because those haven't done anything.
Yeah, that could make sense.
I think bringing back Awakening, it does break a fundamental of like, hey, I'll take a bunch of damage so I can deal out, and so I don't think they will bring it back. But also, if they brought it back, I don't think it breaks the game.
I think they need to give Jarl Winter's Wail. That's what I think they need to do.
Unban Winter's Wail.
I think Winter's Wail would.
It left with Oldhim though.
Yeah, I mean, like, but just like stop the signature weapon thing and just be like, hey, we're unbanning Winter's Wail, even though it's Oldhim's signature weapon. Give it to Jarl. Jarl would. Oh my god, the meta would not be so. Though. They would not be right, and that would be the ice, right? That would be the better way to go about being like, all right, cool, like this is, Syndra is not going to be as prevalent anymore because she can still do very well into most of the heroes, but the second she gets paired up into Jarl, it's like.
Well, I do think though, like we're looking at right, like that D-React, the ice D-React. We always talk about it for Icelander. That immediately goes into Jarl to punish.
There will be more ice tech moving forward, right? But definitely not anything that. We'll see. Obviously, that's CC. That's a whole different thing. The last thing I did want to touch on was another thing for Sage before we end up calling the stream here, the podcast. The voting stuff.
Yes.
So the last thing, kind of learning about this, is that we had some. Give
me 1 second. You keep talking.
Okay, sure. So we had some information that was spreading around on who was going to be able to vote, why, how is the voting system going to truly work. And so effectively what we know now, based on the confirmation from Brian Gottlieb, is that you have to play in a Sage event in Gem in order for you to have a say in the voting for the format. Also, you are not allowed 3 votes, right, when you are voting, just 1 vote. So you're going to vote for the hero you do not want to see in the format. Other people will vote for their hero that they do not want to see in the format. And the top 3 voted heroes will be banned for the season, along with the one that devs choose. So that is a general idea about the voting system. This is more so not because of a, they're not doing it because they're like, okay, the players are going to be the ones who get to choose that they just don't want these heroes in here. It's truly just a rotation, right? It's a way for these heroes to not be as prevalent. When they rack up certain seasons, right? Things will certainly change in between sets. Pen season will probably look different compared to set 19 season and set 20 season and all that. And I think it will be something that is, it really just push the head of being, okay, cool. Like if another hero does get banned and they're banned for 2 seasons, they'll be out for a long time. Like, I mean, that's quite a while. So yeah, it is going to be, I'm very, very curious to see exactly what people are going to be choosing. But I do think at the end of the day, we are going to see probably just everybody's most hated hero banned. Again, there are plenty of heroes in the format. You can theoretically vote for heroes like Betsy if you want to do that. But just like, I don't know, vote with what do you not like, right? Are you a control player and you really don't want to see like hyper aggro stuff? Like, okay, cool. You can ban an aggro deck, right? If you're a hyper aggro deck and you don't like control, you can do the same, right? It's kind of what
I'm
you, the
voting
player,
Chain
want
out.
to do. Yeah. So it's it's kind of all about what you want, but having the ability, knowing that you have to play into a Sage event and have that logged in gem in order for you to vote is really good, because that was my worry, is that people from Classic Constructed who never wanted to play into Sage event a day in their life are just like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I get to make a vote. I don't like Data Doll. Let's ban her. And it's like, come on, you know what you got to do. So that's good. That's good. I'm
One
happy about
thing
that.
too that I was hoping they were going to confirm, but they did say on stream, is that Brian Gottlieb said in the top 8 when they were talking about Sage, is
Mhm.
that anybody who comes back in off of a ban
Yeah.
stays for that season. They can't be banned again.
Hmm.
So you have that. So I do wonder too, because they've talked about if they get banned once, if they get banned twice, if they get banned 3 times. I was under the assumption that it would be consecutive, but
Right.
with that, saying it like that, they've never once said consecutive, which actually brings me to a point of, it might just be if they get banned a second time, maybe it's a year later, they're out for 2 seasons. I don't know. There's still like some things up in the air that we don't fully understand with this, since they are
Yeah.
safe for a season. It's like, okay, if they get banned again
I
2 more
think,
seasons
and
later, does it go for 2? Do they get banned for 2 seasons, or
right.
is it like, hey, they got banned this many times, so in 5 years when Chain gets his 3rd ban, he's out for a whole year? Like,
Yeah. I would like to get more clarification on that for sure. It might even be something I reach out. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I do a little thing with Brian Gottlieb here on the channel and we talk a little bit about the Sage stuff and the future of it. But I do know that even if that is the case, I think it's fine that they have the ability, if they are going like an on season off season kind of deal. I think it's fine, just because the heroes are going to change based on these
yes,
things. Like, you are not going to deal with the, sure, you might be dealing with the exact same Oldhim from season 0 compared to season 2, right?
yeah,
But I don't think that it is going to be that drastic, unless of course they make like new cards for that class that people end up testing locally, because they're just like, well, Oldham's going to come off the ban list in the next couple of
yeah,
weeks, so like we're able to do this testing and get that ready. And so but I think it also just shifts things up. I mean, if it ends up being things
yeah,
where they can make cards for these heroes and be like, okay, cool, it's not going to actually affect Oldham because Oldham is out for 2 seasons, right? So
right.
it's like you
And
can,
then they can and then they can say like, okay, well,
yep,
but one of the problems though, if you realize they're 4 sets deep now,
yeah,
so when they made cards, they wouldn't know who's banned,
exactly.
because they are year, more or less a year and a
Yeah.
half
Well,
ahead.
because then that's the thing, right? It's a player driven voting system, right?
Yeah,
So, and also, now again, we are not going to be, the players are not going to be the ones in charge of banning cards
yes,
from the format. So, if cards need to be banned, like let's say
they will ban
Oldham
them.
is due to come off the ban list, right? And Oldham is going to be back into the format, they can just ban the cards that they know are oppressive in Oldham and allow that to be a different meta, unban them when Oldham gets voted out, and then you have a different thing, right? It allows
Yeah,
them to make that switch and allow it to not be a super oppressive format going forward. So they're going to, again, utilize the ban and restricted system to allow themselves to have, okay, like we obviously know this hero is going to come off the ban list. If this hero is going to come off the ban list, what do we do to our BNR to allow it to not be this thing where it's like 8 chains in the top 8? You know what I mean? So
yes,
that is something that I'm hoping that they're going to do. I know that they also said they were going to do the same thing for CC, in which, like, they're going to use the BNR because the 0.5 system was going to allow them to make different changes to the heroes, and like Syndra hasn't caught a ban yet, so it's very interesting how they actually plan to do it. Hopefully they're putting more effort into that for Sage, but obviously we will see as time goes on. That's just going to kind of be the give and take of it all. Is we're
yeah,
just going to have to see what happens and go from there. But at least we know that this current season is just like Wild West. When Pen comes out in February, we're going to know far more about what we're expected to see in the actual Silver Age like format. Make decisions based off that, play those heroes, see some other bans probably. And then when set 19 comes around, we'll be able to make our decision on what we're going to actually ban as a community. So,
yep, I do like that they did address that. The other thing too that we're seeing more and more, I think I've said this multiple times too, is the fact that Pen will allow them to build cards for heroes that they think are good, like Fi.
yeah,
They're building some Phoenix Flames archetypes, which I know in the past they've been scared of doing just because he's going to LL at some point.
right.
And so now this allows them to make stuff for Iceland and make stuff for Fi, make stuff for characters that maybe they need some in LL or whatever. Like, not that we're playing LL, but you know what I mean? Like, in LL, they could have used those, and now it's like, hey, we're going to make this stuff for Sage because these heroes are here, and that inevitably just allows it to trickle into other formats like LL, and maybe it would stabilize LL.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it's the same deal whenever they'd make like the dusts for Dromai, when Dromai had been in Living Legend for, months at that point. Like, you obviously were still going, okay, they're building something off of this, like something has to be happening there. And I think with them being able to make new rare and common cards for all these classes and talents, it's not that they are wasting the ink on the cardboard of being like, 100%. Okay, sure, like we printed stuff for Fi. Fi now shoots up to Living Legend in 2 callings, and then those cards are nothing now. Now, the only thing that ever affects is like if it's a majestic or a legendary, right? And if those are the case, even still, we do have Living Legend, and that again allows them to flesh out that format for future iterations, right? Living Legend is going to be an important format for Flesh and Blood, just not right now. So as they continue to make more stuff, they're going to flesh that out. They're going to make sure that it's something that they are able to truly kind of push and make that happen. So
another thing it allows them to do is that expansion slot. I fully expect after Pen, we're going to have rares in that expansion slot with the Majestics. I don't think it's going to be pure Majestics.
I would say that would be nice, except God, that would be awful for anybody who is like opened up previous, like I don't exactly think that all expansion slot cards need to be worth something, because like obviously a lot of these cards have not seen great jumps in price or anything. They've been like a couple bucks, or if like 50 cents for some of the stuff. But printing rares in there, I think it would have to be something in where they're like, we have to change the format. Like, and at that point, it's probably just going to be like, okay, like who didn't benefit from Pen? You know what I mean? Like what hero did not benefit from Pen that they aren't going to also just be like, okay, I'm in a good spot. I don't need new cards. You can still play a very concise hero. But like now, if you're playing into like the Assassin Illusionist draft set of set 19 or whatever, right? That is going to be something where like, sure, Assassins and Illusionists might get something, but I don't know that they're like, okay, we'll get some expansion slot stuff specifically for Sage. I think at that point they'll probably just wait for like Mastery Pack stuff to come out.
Maybe.
But I could be wrong. I think personally it might feel a little bit bad to pull a rare or a common out of an expansion set unless it is a like alternate art Marvel version of like a piece of armor or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, sure, right? Like that sounds sick. But outside of that, if it's not like shiny stuff, it's probably not a good idea to put a regular rare in an expansion slot just because it's going to tank stuff. But that's a different topic. That's a different topic for another time.
We don't need
to get into anything there.
We got enough stuff today.
Anyway, that's going to be it for us today. Hopefully you had a good time listening to us yap about the Dev Talk. Of course, if you have any questions about the Dev Talk or anything y'all wanted to talk about, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. I love hearing from y'all. Of course, Nathan is going to be doing some streams every now and again over on his channel. So go check out Bold Brew Games for that. what I don't think there's anything else. Anything you want to say before we end here?
Nope.
Cool.
Nope, I think that covers everything. You
All
can
right.
reach me at Build Brew Games. Also, I will say this: if you do want to reach me, I am also in Ashwing's Discord.
Correct.
So
Yes. Yeah. You can
can
feel
ping
free to
me
go ahead and
there.
ping him there.
You can ping me in the Build Brew Games Discord. So I am in both and fairly active. I check both. So
Yep. So yeah, go ahead and do that there. Again, we do also have Nathan's recycling program stuff in the description down below. So feel free to go ahead and check that out if you're looking to do some.
I added in some more
focusing
stuff. I added some Guardian
Nice.
stuff. So.
There you go. So we're moving into other classes there for that. But yeah, otherwise, like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. And I hope you all continue to have fun in the flesh and blood. And we will see all of you in our next installment of the Common Language Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.